Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Gallegos from IGN, alongside Rob Oberman of Cryptic, a producer of Cryptic on Foundry, which is the user-generated content tool for Neverwinter. So I guess we're going to create a quest here from scratch.
That's right. So I'm just going to start up, and I'll go through some basics to start off, and then we'll go and look at some of the different tabs here across the top and kind of take a tour, and then we'll get right into making a quest.
Cool.
So, of course, all quests need a name, and in this field it's basically the name that players will see in their quest tracker when they accept your Foundry quest. Let's make something easy today.
Okay.
The guards need help.
Okay.
In the description, this is basically the description of the quest that players will see in the journal when they open up and get more information. Help
Hey.
the guards.
I was going to say, hey, those guards still need help.
Yeah, right.
Um,
You can select the language you want, and this will basically be for players that are playing in German, French.
That's pretty incredible that you guys actually have the ability to support those various languages in user-generated stuff as well.
Right. As you notice, I typed some stuff in private notes. This is stuff no player sees. This is always for just the author. They can take notes. Basically, if the players say, hey, I was playing your quest and there was a bug, you can take notes.
Or I imagine the notes would also be important if, say, you were creating something and you didn't finish it and you wanted to come back to it later.
Exactly. All right, so that's basically the start of the quest. That's how everything begins.
Okay. So we have an idea.
We have an idea.
Now we just have to make it.
So there's a number of ways that you can make quests. Some people like to have a map and put stuff on it. It's usually the maps over here. And then some people like to basically bring up or build an outline in the story, and that's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
It's the way that I'm used to it, but basically we're going to build an outline and then fill it out.
Okay.
So your options for maps, as you can see, is to select a Neverwinter adventure zone. Those are our basically our adventure zones in the game. So Protector's Enclave and Mount Hood.
Right.
So we're going to start there. As most quests begin in MMOs, we're going to start by talking to somebody that's going to give us a quest. But that isn't. You don't actually need to do that. You can have it start anywhere you like, just like going and defeating things, and just get right into it. But let's hop in. So we're going to talk to a contact, and that's going to set us up in this quest that we're going to make to give an overview really quick.
Okay.
We're going to talk to somebody. They're going to say, guards need help, and tell you where you need to go.
To help the guards.
To go help the guards. We'll start in a Neverwinter map, and then we'll go to a custom map, and we'll do some editing.
Cool.
All right, so...
so you can actually, so this will be the text that the NPC actually kind of prompts us with.
Exactly. So I dropped a contact dialog. As you can see, sorry, we'll back up. On the story tab, you have the maps over here that are part of your quest, and then you have objectives that you can add to those maps. So just really quick. The things that you can do is interact with object. All of these are actually very misleading in their simplicity, because you can do a lot of things with them as you get into the editor. Interact with objects, that means like go click on a thing, pull a lever, kill enemies. Obviously, this defeat enemies. Dialogue is talk to a contact. However, you can also talk to things like through inspect, like garbage cans. Just in case, there's a grouch down inside of a can that you need to talk to. Unlock doors, obviously, self-explanatory. And reach point. These are usually used for...
like a trigger?
Right, they're triggers. If you need to lead, like if you say, go find the tavern, you can put down an area waypoint that the player will see, and they'll know what the general area is. And then you can have it's sort of a leading or a guiding mechanism there.
Okay.
So, but we are actually going to start with the dialogue. We're going to go through the dialogue tree and then come back and build out our second map with a little bit more of these.
Okay.
So bear with me for a second. I'm going to select the component of the NPC that we're going to talk to in one of our Neverwinter adventure zones. As you can see, there's all of our different adventure zones are represented.
Right.
Textures are going to load. But we have Protector's Enclave. Here are various contacts that you can have players go to in-world to get their quest from. Now, if guards need help, what better source than a guard?
Another guard, of course.
Right. So we're going to select Guard Frinko here.
Also, I'll just take a second to say that, to anybody watching, this is obviously a beta at this point. This is not final release, so anything we see, whether it's little texture issues or whatever, beta. Just remember these things.
Exactly. So we have the quest text here, and this is actually going to be in the tracker. So when the player finds that Foundry quest, accepts the quest, the first objective is going to be
talk to Guard Frinko.
Talk to Guard Frinko. And he's going to say, hey, guards need help. All right. So that's the start of that.
Okay.
And here we can also select different animations that basically that NPC is going to have or basically play when you go talk to him. So let's zombie dance. That's
okay. I was going to say, yeah, I was laughing because I could see that not all of them are very serious, to be fair. Like, you can make it as ridiculous as you want or as serious as you want.
Exactly. And that sort of goes in the theme of sort of freedom to for authors to basically make whatever they can imagine. There are obviously some limitations if you don't have every single animation ever in
here.
Sure. But there's a lot that they can use. Salute seems pretty good and apropos for this, so let's use that. So from here, like if that's all we wanted to do, and if we just had our quest to just go talk to a guard and he says, hey, guards need help, and then we can kick off the next step, that's absolutely viable. And I'm sure there are tons of quests that can end, or first steps in quests that can just end right there before going to the next step.
Sure.
We're going to look at the advanced dialogue editor. And this will take us to the dialogue trees tab, as you'll see. So in here, we can build out as complex dialogue as we want for this guard. So here we have his initial text.
Aha.
Go talk to him.
Wow, you can have multiple responses.
Exactly.
Okay.
So here we go. And we just say no. Right off the bat. We can add another response. Yes. We've been add another response just to make it as complicated as possible.
Yeah, I actually like the way that you guys do this into these trees too that are much easier to understand. You know, they're very easy if you've ever worked with anything. It's like if then this.
Right. So we have multiple responses here. We have one that's obviously very negative, and one that seems nice and positive, and one that is a little bit more.
Sure, it's a little more reserved.
Yeah. In each of these things, each of these responses, there's a number of things that we can. Properties that we can add to each of these.
Okay.
I won't go into too much detail in here,
sure,
but
sure,
we'll go through them really quick. You can color the text in different colors to sort of show
that people understand like the importance of the action you're. Okay.
And then if you want to guide people through the trees, they can just look for a single color to have them go through and guide them through to get to the end and make the right choices. Or you can leave it as open as possible. Different enables for when certain trees will be enabled. Or disabled.
Okay.
So this is, as I said, it's very deceptively simple, but there's a lot of things we can do. So, of course, if a player says no right off the bat, and if guards need help, we're just going to fail that. So
so that ends the quest.
Done. You're not going to progress. You've decided you're not going to help guards, and the quest will not progress. But if you choose yes, we can definitely say. So the player here, the response is yes, and this is going to be Guard Franco's response. Thank you.
Okay.
So the guard's going to say thank you. They need your help now. You can have to respond. And you can see where this goes, right?
Right.
It keeps going and going. If you want here, you can add another response.
They
just get really big. The roots go very deep and long. So we'll...
I'd say we have a good...
we have a pretty good start. So I'm going to delete this response too.
Sure.
Because we really don't need it.
We have the basic gist now. We need to find Guard Franco, talk to him, tell them that we want to help the guards.
One thing I want to show really quick is how we can link these trees together.
Okay.
So can you help now? Yes. So what we're going to do is grab.
Okay.
Grab this text.
Okay.
Got to build it out a little bit. I'm trying to it's trying to go fast here, but you can grab this and actually link it to another thing. So if they choose this tree, you can have them always return to the tree that you want them to.
Right. So if they go through that long dialogue tree, it'll still end with "Thank you. They need your help now. Start the quest."
Exactly.
Okay. That's cool that you can literally just draw a line between the two of them to make it as easy as possible.
Yep. And you can make it really complicated. Right. So that's the basic dialogue editor. As you can see, I mean, this can branch out really far. And
right.
really
Obviously, we're showing a very simple example, but people that want to dedicate a lot of time can create really elaborate dialogue trees.
So our first step in our quest is talk to the guard, and obviously guards need help. Let's go on to the next part of our quest here.
Okay.
And this is we're going to add a custom map.
Okay.
And we're going to start off by, let's see, the guards need help in a forest, maybe. So we're going to name our map forest, give it a version. We're going to make an outdoor map first. As you can see, there are a lot of choices for maps that you can use to build your quest in.
Right.
Things that are basically canvas maps, where you can start from scratch, just a flat plane.
Stuff that has like pre-made hills, that sort of thing.
Exactly, and then also representative maps of our adventure zones, so up and downs and stuff like that. So, as well as there's a filter so you can find one that suits your needs right away. So let's go ahead and use this forest map.
I could see that. Guards need help fighting in the woods.
Exactly.
I'm building a narrative in my head now.
Exactly. So we're gonna put down a couple of options here for our quest in the forest. Really quick, I'm going to pick the map transition for basically when you're in Protector's Enclave. That's where Guard Finko is.
Sure.
You can select a number of things for players to interact with. In fact, you can send them to different zones to interact with to go to the forest. Or you can select to use the overworld map, which basically means it's going to point you to the nearest city gate. And
okay, and then you'll zone out from there.
And then from there, what you'll do is you'll open up the overworld map. And then this is what players will see when they go to the gate. It'll open up this big map, and you can select the icon you want. So let's go to forest. And you can place it. And this is sort of gives your quest a little bit of a permanence and a location in the world. And there's definitely a forest over here. So when players open
now they understand that they're actually going to a place contextually.
So this will show up in the overworld map. They'll select this icon on the overworld map and say, do you want to go here? And select yes. And there we go. So let's drop a few things really quick in the forest. So first we're going to reach a point. That's basically we're going to find the guards. Right? Okay. And then and maybe the guards are under attack.
Right. So that now we need to actually help the guards.
We're going to help the guards, exactly. And then we'll reach another point, and I think we'll start with that.
Okay.
There's interact with objects we can do, but
sure.
Let's go through this. So we'll go find the guards.
So I mean, I could even see it where if we were making a much more elaborate quest, we could do something like find the first thing that happens when you arrive in the woods is like an interactive object, and that you could have like a dialogue prompt up that's like, the guards are clearly this way, we should continue to follow the trail or something like that, you know, where there's that sort of level of interactivity to kind of point you in the direction.
Absolutely. So if you can imagine a dialogue, you can place it down and then select that the NPC is defeated or dead.
Right.
So then you can go inspect the body if you want.
Sure.
So we're going to find the guards in the forest.
Okay.
And this is I'm naming this basically in the outline because it's going to make it easier, and you'll see why in the next step.
Okay.
What do you want to defeat?
Some sort of, I don't know, some sort of woodland creature, a gnoll-like animal or something, I would imagine.
An animal? How about a spider?
Okay, spiders were good. 4 spiders are...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's consistent.
So we have some spiders to defeat. And then we're going to find the cave. We're gonna make 2 maps really quick. Because I want to show you the exterior editor and then the interior editor, which are 2 of the things that we're going to do. All right, so let's work on our first map.
Okay.
Go to the Maps tab, and as you can see, there's our map. And it's just ready to be edited. So we have 2 views here. Let's take a quick tour of this tab. We have the layout view, where you basically lay out big things, and then the detail view. Over here, we have our unplaced components that you see their name just like we named them in our
right.
In our story,
okay.
Right? So that's why it helps to name them there. If we didn't name them, I'll show you really quick. Inspect the object. It's an unnamed task. So it helps you sort of organize what you're doing in your map. So we got to find the guards. This is your spawn point. So maybe we'll start over here in this little area and rotate that spawn point.
Again, I like the fact that you guys have really strived to make this as effortless as possible.
Absolutely.
Literally drag around a spawn point. I'm not entering coordinates or anything like that, you know. I think that's really important. Okay, if you want to be that precise.
Exactly.
See, that's one of the things that I think people are going to like, right? Is we're showing like a very easy format of a quest, but people that really want to get into the nitty-gritty can really do so.
So we're going to find the guards in the forest. We'll place it fairly local, so it'll be easy to find.
Okay.
As well as, we just drag and drop. Those are the spiders. And then we'll zoom out a little bit, and maybe we'll wander, and we'll find the cave. As you can see in the detail, all of these things have the names.
Right.
Spiders, find the cave, there's the marker for that. So you can kind of it helps you remember what each of the things are. This
Sure.
can get really crazy if you
Sure,
wanna,
sure.
add
If you
tons
had a
of stuff.
bunch of instances and phases to it.
Exactly. Let's also add a respawn point just in case we get defeated. And again with the drag and drop. So what we can do in as you can see, there's different views in layout, and then we can edit basically the encounter. In the encounter here, we can change what they are.
Okay. Oh, and you can even change their kind of general placement.
These are different
sort of arrangements of the enemies.
Exactly, and they're different difficulties. So we can have just easy, just standard, hard, depending on what you want to, what kind of experience you want the player to have. So these are we'll make something easy. We'll select this mixed group of spiders. That's a mixed group of melee and ranged. And we'll look at this really quick. As I mentioned before, right? It seems very simple and easy, but there is another layer, right? When these things appear, when they disappear, we can go over their behaviors. If they just animate, if they pretend they're dead, so they pop up when they come near. Fight until some percentage of health, and then they stop fighting. Follow, which is really great for critters, or bad encounter, mean encounters, so that you can never run away from them. Have them on a patrol, a one-way patrol, which is just basically run to a point, and then wander around and then combat. So there's a lot of things we can do. We'll leave them as is for now, but if we have some time, we'll do some other behaviors. But what I want to do is just lay this out really quick and then show you how easy it is to play.
Okay.
All right, so we have all our components placed. We got to find our guards. What I'm going to do is actually put down some guards.
Okay.
We have a friendly group.
Oh, it's nice that you can also type search and it kind of auto, sorts through as you put the words down, so you could find guards that easy.
Let's put some nice tough guards down over here.
Okay.
Where you've got to find them. Because these are good and these are bad, they will fight if they're in range. So it should be good that when we spawn in, we'll see somebody fighting and we'll run up and help them. In the details here, we can go down. As you can see, here's the encounters. You can move individual actors in the encounters to set up a formation. Same with the other guys.
Okay.
You can have them rotate and face whatever direction you want. And then you could even go into the costume and change all
individual ones?
Individual costumes for individual guards. And then we have male and female. Most, if not all, of the critter groups are represented. So all of our humans, half-orcs.
Nice.
So as you see, we can just filter through. I'll change one of them just so that you can see it.
Okay.
You could also name each of them.
Oh my gosh.
So this one obviously is going to be orc, sorry, it's a goblin. Give it a group name.
Guards. Goblins.
It's a goblin. Sorry. You are correct, sir. All right. There's obviously you can do that with every single actor. There's a lot of options there. You can change the name of each one, so you can give them each personalities. Like this one's name is Dan. This one's name is Carol. All kinds of things. As well as with all the encounters. All right. So we have the encounters down. We have a respawn point. Let's go really quick and look at details.
Okay.
Although this is detailed, a nice detailed map, and it probably looks really cool, I want a couple extra things in here. So what we're going to do is go to our details and actually take a look. And if you can, look at the scroll bar. This is a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
That is things, stairwells.
Just little items that you can add to kind of make the environment your own.
Yes, and it's webbing. I mean, there is spiders, so let's lay down a sheet of webbing underneath the spiders.
Yeah, they're hanging out. They're going to put web down.
In fact, let's go ahead and look for things that are spidery.
Ooh, spider eggs.
Spider eggs, got to have spider eggs. In fact, you have lots of spider eggs. Just drag them down.
Sure. We need to understand that this is a dangerous spider environment.
Exactly. There are trees here, but I like things that are dead trees. So we can have, oh, here's a dead tree.
Gnarled dead tree.
Just place that down there. As you can see, the detail is right there. You can grab it, rotate it, change its placement. All drag and drop. It's a twisted forest tree. That's really cool. All right. Nice large trees.
Okay.
All right.
So we have a setting. We have enemies to fight now. Guards to save.
And there may be more things that we can do here, but I want to know how this plays right now.
Sure.
So that's pretty easy. Just go right here to play map.
This kind of allows you to see if what you've made is broken too, and adjust it, before you put it out there for the public to play.
Exactly. So this takes it a little bit. Basically what this does is it brings up in the background on the Foundry server, it brings up that server just like it would on the live servers. The Foundry editing server and the live server are two different environments. So it's basically building the map in the background. It loads it up, and then we'll spawn right in it. So give it a second.
So, I mean, one of the things that I feel like you guys have really strived to do with the Foundry is make it so that the most creative players out there can also be rewarded. So I know that you guys are planning on having like a way for people to vote and get the maps that are the most beloved up in the forefront of people, so that they can find those easily. Basically, you guys really want to have a rating system as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we are. Great segue.
Yeah.
So we can look really quick at the catalog. And now these are quests that are created by users, by our authors right now. So we have definitely things that are featured. We're definitely going to have featured quests that are totally awesome. That we reach out to the authors and say that the thing you made, that quest you made was so great. I would love to feature it and basically spotlight it so everybody knows how awesome it is, so they can go and play it. If you subscribe to authors, that's where this list will come. Things that are new or just created, this is where they'll show up. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff being created
Already, yeah.
They've got plays, they've got reviews, they've got, that's not a very good example.
Actual people providing feedback.
Exactly. You can search by the duration, by author, as well as you can search basically anything that's in here. So if I wanted to, search, I don't know, custom, find everything that says custom. There you go. So yeah, absolutely. We want to promote the author at every chance we can get.
So we've dropped into our world.
Yep. I'm a little bit naked right now.
Sure.
I have some inventory. This is a test character, and basically you'll be able to respec your character into different levels and get some gear and test as various classes. And I'll show you that when we get back to the editor.
Okay.
So here's our world. We started out.
I can see our dead tree that we put down.
Yeah. There's our big crazy big tree that we put down.
Right.
It's cool. There's a cornfield here. It's neat.
And so this is where we'll see the guards and the spiders shortly ahead.
Yeah. Hopefully they haven't defeated them all yet. But here's our guards.
Okay.
Just as we place down. Spiders might be right over there. And we have there's our goblin.
The one lone goblin guard.
Yeah. Can't attack him because he's nice. And there's our spiders. So here's our guards. They're ready to fight.
I can see the egg sacs that we placed down as well. The webbing on the floor, kind of denoting we've entered spider territory.
Oh no, these guys, they are so scary. I will run. Don't. Oh, thanks, guards. I guess I was the one that needed help.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's nice that they actually, the AI is just sort of built in there right away.
But as you can see, I just immediately started attacking. I'm level 10. You can go into powers and, change that as you're on your test character.
Sure.
But there, we tested it. It works. There's a lone kobold. Let's get it really quick. It seems that our quest works. We defeated the spiders.
And now, once we had it all set up, we'd be able to...
There we go. And then our next quest that we put
defeat the spiders complete.
Yep, complete. And our next quest objective is to find the cave. We have a waypoint on the map. Tells us where to go. And but we're not going to run all the way there. It's a bit far away, and we haven't built that out yet. So but we've tested.
So phase 1 is actually a success.
It looks good. Might need to flesh it out a little bit more.
Sure. I mean, you could tweak things to maybe have it like the spacing a little bit closer to where the guards and spiders are fighting immediately. Tweak the spider toughness to make sure that they lived long enough.
But while we're here, I want to show a little bit of what we've added for Neverwinter Foundry.
Sure.
And that's basic. You saw the 2D editor where you drag and drop things that into the world. But for Neverwinter, we added 3D editing. So we're going to go over here and enable 3D editing. And you can actually grab things and move them. So I can grab this and then move them around.
I see. So now we can move it on the X, Y, and Z axis.
Yep. You can also rotate it if you want to pick the perfect. Put them on walls if you want.
Sure.
You can see them. Whoops.
That's interesting. So I guess that allows people to do things that the 2D editor alone wouldn't allow,
But it doesn't stop there. Let's go ahead and show something else here. We can change the distance of basically our handles, or what we can see to edit.
Okay.
And we can notice, oh, there is other things. Here we go. I guess we can change the placement of this giant tree. Let's go ahead and do that.
It's funny because a lot of these tools, you know, they look like the type of things that the quest designers at Cryptic themselves would very much so be playing with.
Yes. When we finally got to, we call it the nudger, because we're just sort of nudging them around.
Yeah.
But when we got this in, and it was sort of a Hail Mary, right? we had the 2D editor, and that was looking good, and we're looking at it, and we made the decision, you know what we need? We really need to kick this up a notch. We absolutely did by adding this ability.
Yeah, it's really cool because now you have a tree that seemed like it kind of grew at a slant, and all you did is you rotated it to give it a completely different look.
So that's, I mean, I could edit a ton of stuff. As you can see, everything that we place down, we can edit and move about. You can imagine there are so many things that you can do with this. You can build, you know, buildings and build pretty much
really
anything,
elaborate dungeons.
Right? All of the stuff doesn't need to be snapped to the ground. So if you wanted floating trees up in the sky or upside down, and you could really make something.
I was going to say, I imagine that that's probably one of the most interesting things that will come out of Neverwinter when it's, you know, out of beta and in the hands of even more people, is that people that will create things that you can't even really anticipate, kind of using the tools in unexpected ways and doing really, really, really bizarre things that, you know, no one really could have expected.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and return back to the Foundry.
Okay.
Basically, all of these things, as we edit them, aren't really locked into place, and you can finish editing. Basically, that
makes them saved.
It bakes everything into the map. We can just hop right back in. It'll save all of those changes for us. All right, so we've made this this exterior map, and there's some pretty cool stuff here. We could keep editing this. As you can see, there's things like, just go through really quick. There's things like clusters, large groups of things. Let's look really quick for, these are pine trees. Big clusters of objects that if you if you had a plain or empty map, you can quickly place down a lot of items to...
And then move them about individually.
Exactly. So you can really fill out a map really fast if you want to add more foliage. So those are our cluster objects. Obviously, there's crops, lots of different grass, all kinds of stuff here. Mist, pine trees, rivers. We have teleporters. Basic. I think it's self-explanatory. You go in, you go in one side, and you pop out the other. I'll show you that really quick. You place one down and the other down, and when you go up, you get an interact, and it pops you on over.
Okay.
Adding effects in the world. I mean, there's just so much here to do. And then, of course, we already looked at the details. There's tons of stuff there. Traps, if you wanted to be really mean to your players and and hurt them as much as possible as they play through your quest.
And then, I mean, even once a quest is published, like if we were to put a bunch of traps and everyone complained about the traps being really tough and really unfair feeling, we could always take that old saved map and re-edit it and republish it.
Yeah,
in a version without all of the stuff that people hated necessarily.
Yeah, you open it up, you change, you know, remove whatever you don't want. You go over here, you click save, it saves it, and then you click publish, and then that new version gets published out, and that's what everybody's going to be playing. All right, so that's exteriors. There's lots of power there. There's tons of stuff to do. Countless hours of stuff that or time that you can spend building this out. But let's go ahead and make a new map, and we'll make it an interior.
Okay.
So we're going to create a map. And this time we're going to choose the interior. We're going to call it a cave, because that's what we have on our quest to go find the cave. Again, with the exterior maps, we have representations of maps that we have that you'll play in the regular game. So in Black Dagger, the Keep, Crypt of the Vigilant Eye, tons of locations for interiors that we have from the game. If you want to tell a different story than we did in these same locations, and all of these maps are fully detailed, lit, and look absolutely wonderful. But I think we're going to look at making custom stuff today.
Okay.
So, just like the external map editor, we have the two views, layout and detail.
Right.
The layout mode is, as you can see, there's a new button over here called Rooms.
Okay.
Since this is a cave, we'll go ahead and filter it out to just have caves. And we're going to build out a cave. So we have all of our room pieces. They're fully rotatable. You can zoom in to see what they're going to look like. And you just drag and drop them.
And now we kind of link them together to actually form the dungeon.
Yep. So as you see, if you look on the bottom edge here, there's these little these little notches, and those are doors, and they line up and create a connection. And there are all sorts of different sizes. That's not a good example.
Again, beta for anyone that forgets.
Ooh, that looks pretty cool, crystal room. Basically, these are just like puzzle pieces. They snap together, and when they snap together. And go into detail mode. And the same thing as before, right? We have details. If we want to put down, more, that's a bit big for this room, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say it might fill the whole room up.
This one maybe better. That one's a little bit better. Basically, you put down any details you want. Yeah, just like the exterior map. Barn stables are always good for caves.
How they got that into there's anyone's guess.
Right, magic. We have, anyways, tons of stuff for details. Same thing with traps. We have NPCs. If you want to just immediately place down an NPC that's going to be in there standing around, you can then change its name, change its costume just like we did before.
Sure.
We can change when it appears, have it never appear immediately when certain things or certain conditions are met.
Sure.
We can make it a contact or
a dead body. Just to
find dead body, right? So you go investigate the trouble in the cave, and you find somebody that's dead, and then you can figure out what happened. There's a lot of options here. And then just like before, I think what we'll do is the of our spawn in point. We'll move it over here. Let's put in a lot of encounters. Aboliths. That's pretty good. Make sure they're easy. In fact, we'll put in a bunch of different stuff. So there's obviously tons of encounter groups available. Different difficulties. You can sort just by melee ranged or mixed, meaning encounters that have both. And then let's go ahead and pop in. Let's actually really quick look at the respec. So here's where you can respec to pick the class and level that you're going to be.
Right.
So let's go ahead and make ourselves a trickster rogue really quick. Play the map. So the internal editor is really just as plug and play as the exterior map editor. You just lay down your pieces. You don't have to use all of the same kit pieces. You can mix and match. So you can have a cave that leads into the underside of a castle, so you can go into a dungeon that leads into a crypt, and you could sort of fit those pieces together. Some pieces don't always work together, but then creative use of teleports and doors will get you where you need to be. So here I am naked again, as you can see. Put on my rogue gear. And the cave, as you can see, is fully detailed. It's lit. There's our stable.
I was going to say, I imagine lighting is something you guys definitely have to, like, that seems like one of those things that would be really hard to pre-bake, so it's nice that it's, or to, like, for a player to kind of set up on their own, so it's nice that it actually is already, like, naturally lit for you.
Absolutely, and we'll take a look at it. It's a good point. Let's bring, I'm going to bring back up the editor, and let's change some of those things. So we have, the lighting there looked pretty cool, but we can actually go in and edit the backdrop to change what the default lighting is, to make it look a little bit more spooky, a little more contrasty. I like this one a lot. And then we can go ahead and override the sky, so we can make it black and white, heavy blue fog. So you can, as you can see, you can make it really tune it to what you envision. We'll go ahead and make some heavy red fog. You can keep adding more things there. In I think in details, you can look for lights. And we have depth fades, dynamic lights that you can put in, orange lights, red lights. So yes, you can do
so you can do custom lighting,
Absolutely.
but again, it's nice that for the people who aren't necessarily as savvy or want to spend as much time, you can have that sort of in there ahead of time.
Absolutely. And then if you want, you can also just quickly populate a room with details that we've set up that make it look sort of good, and then move those things around. And as we go on, we can add more population sets.
Right.
Just right-click that that room. As you can see, it goes into populate, and it adds a bunch of stuff. It also removed the custom things we put in, because we basically did an override on all the details that were in there. But if you want to add that stable back, you just find it, drag it back in. So it's going to look probably wildly different when we go in again. But let's check it out. I hope it looks wildly different. After we, I think we'll wrap up a little bit on the internal map, and I'm going to look at to show you a little bit of the costume editor.
Okay.
And then we'll look at some of the other tabs that are on the top of the screen. All right. So here's our cave. Looking pretty good. It seems that I've probably boxed myself.
I was going to say, I think some of the large rocks, but I guess that's a good chance for you to kind of, this is why it's nice to be able to test it before you publish it.
Exactly. Very good point. So we'll go back into the editor really quick, and let's get rid of some of those details. Just click them and hit delete, and they go right away. All right, so let's take a look at the top of the screen here. So we had a look at story. We definitely had a look at our maps. Dialogue trees we took a look at. We can look at costumes for a second. So we'll go ahead and click a new costume. And this kind of looks like that NPC picker like we had before, right?
Yeah.
But we're going to make something that's a little bit more custom. All right, so we're gonna start with. Right now, as you can see, there are a ton of options here. We have a lot of the critters and characters that the players will come across in their normal gameplay experience. We also have animals, with cats. In fact, let's take a look at those really quick. I won't. We have chickens. Definitely, you need some chickens. But we also have a really good selection of all of the races and
species. That are actual playable ones in the game.
Exactly. But what we'll do is we'll find a good starting point. This ruffian's probably good. We'll go ahead and create it, and then we can go over here and we can actually customize it a bit more by adding items to it to really get the perfect look that we're going for. You can change all sorts of things, their armor on their body, change those colors of those things. I mean, one thing that Cryptic's well known for is their character customization. All of our games have kind of shown that, and we definitely knew that we had to repeat that for the Foundry. It just makes sense. So as you can see, you can customize each of the body slots and the armor. Then we can go into you can also change the stances. And then we can go into advanced mode, which gives us a lot of sliders. Now this gets pretty
very
daunting.
elaborate on the hands, and you can change everything, hands and.
So just to point out, this is beta. There's a lot of sliders here. Some of them are dev sliders, so this get trimmed down a little bit. But I mean,
oh wow,
you can
make monstrous-looking people if you wanted to.
Yes. Go back to the head. We could change the hair and do all different things. I think the helmets I won't show. Add some attachment items to the head, change their complexion, and then go all sorts of things on the head. I have a helmet, so this is a bad example. Lower body, definitely the leg length, to make them super tall. There are a lot of options here, and yes, you can make something that is very strange, but a lot of times, if you really think about it, there are instances where something that looks very odd is absolutely appropriate.
Sure, it might be someone that something terrible happened to them. A spell made them into some sort of monstrous-looking person.
Exactly. So there are a lot of sliders here, so you can modify, nearly every aspect of your character. And then if you don't need all this, if you just return to simple mode, it just pops you right back. If you just want to stay here in the simple view. This is the costume editor. We already gave it a name. It automatically saves, so there isn't like a save button. That's a question that comes up. You can create a new one from here. You can rename it, and then if this costume is linked to something specific, you can just click it and it takes you right back to the asset that you have linked it to. That's pretty much the costume editor. Let's look at the item editor really quick.
Okay.
In quests, usually there's an item you need to go get, or somebody gives you to give to somebody else. let's say we'll make a potion really quick. So this is a quest item that you can have contacts require before you talk to them. You can have you can find in chests. You can have interacts require them. So if you need to find, imagine you can find the handle for I don't know, a lever. You can go find the lever and then come back and use it. So you give it a name, give it a description. This can be up to 100 characters. And then we have a lot of icons that you can choose from. Right? Obviously, just as our options for objects and details and critters. And
I was going to say, yeah, there's a theme. It's very elaborate.
Yeah. It's really just use your imagination, and we hope to be able to let you make what you want. So we have a potion. So in our quest, if we had this drop off something, let's actually do that really. I don't want to delete that. If we have our go back into our story, go back to Guard Frinko, he can actually drop an item, and there's our item right there. And there you go. You have your quest item. If we had another dialogue down here, we can have them require that item.
I see. So that then you have to actually deliver it, and it becomes a quest item.
Exactly. If it was find the guards, and then really quick, give a potion to the guards. You could. Where's the requires? It's in the advanced dialogue tree.
Where it would be like requires this item to actually make it happen.
There
right.
So that guy's not going to talk to you
unless you have the item.
Exactly. So again, that theme of it seems very simple, but there's a lot of stuff, a lot of details that you can add, a lot of parameters and things that you can tweak to make it the perfect experience that you want. So that's the basics of the Foundry editor.
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of takeaway from it is that it's like what we've done is very simple in the schemes of what we were trying to do. Like we were trying to make a very simple quest, dragging and dropping things really instantly without much care about maybe setting a tone or a theme. But people that really want to put the time in there can actually do a lot of transformation of the environments and really have elaborate dialogue to tell a story that they want to tell.
Absolutely. We can pop in. We can take a look at some other things that we've created. But if you got any questions or anything that you'd want to see, let's go for it.
No, I think we've kind of given a good overview of it. Really, I think the rating system, all that stuff is there, and it's going to really help people kind of cull the quests that maybe aren't living up to the standard that they want. But I think it's really cool what you guys have actually managed to accomplish. I mean, I guess the primary thing is if people want to try this out for themselves, how can they do so?
Well, right now we have a beta test for the Foundry and the editor, and essentially the first time that everybody's going to get a chance to become an author and sort of tell their story in Neverwinter is OBT. For all of our beta tests, we basically have a special beta group of testers, the guys that are actually making all of that content that you saw here in the catalog. And then our beta testers, when we have those beta weekends, they get to play that content and rate it and comment on it. And then everybody else is going to get access to it in OBT.
When do you guys have an idea of when open beta will be?
It is the 30th.
Okay, so that's coming right up in the future.
Oh my goodness, it is.
I know. That's probably more nerve-wracking for you guys than anyone else, but it'll be cool to see what people are able to do with it. So like we said, that's kind of a large overview of, and actually just a really simple look at what you can do with the content creator, the Foundry, in Neverwinter. We'll be checking it out more as time goes on, and we look forward to seeing what you guys make. And for a lot more in Neverwinter, you can go to IGN.